This slide shows that the next one of the 8 Gradle build files is the module-level build.gradle.kts file. This file is located in each of the project's module directories to configure build settings for the specific module it is located in. This file is used to configure build settings for the corresponding module, including required dependencies, minimum and targeted platform versions, your application's version information, and different build types and product flavors. The plugin block applies the Android application plugin, which allows you to build and package your Android app, and the Kotlin plugin for Android to enable Kotlin support. The Android block contains Android-specific configuration. Namespace defines the Android package name, namespace, of your app. It's how your app is uniquely identified on the Play Store and within Android. The Compile SDK specifies the SDK version used to compile your app. The default config block within the Android block specifies default settings that will be shared across all your different product flavors. The application ID specifies your app's unique identifier when installed on an Android device. The application ID provides a unique package name that will be used to identify the built APK for publishing and distribution. By default and requirement, this should use the same package name defined within your manifest and application classes. Next, the Min SDK sets the lowest version of the Android platform our application is compatible with. This lets you indicate the earliest Android platform release on which your application can be installed and run. The Android framework will prevent users from installing your application if the system's API level is lower than this value. If you fail to specify a minimum version, it defaults to 1 and will be available on all devices, resulting in crashes if unavailable APIs are called. The Target SDK specifies the Android platform version you developed and tested against. Setting a Target SDK tells the system there is no need to apply forward or backwards compatibility changes to support that particular platform. To take advantage of the newest platform UI improvements, it's considered good practice to update the Target SDK of your application to the latest platform release after you confirm it behaves as expected, even if you aren't making use of any new APIs. The version code defines the current application version as an integer that increases with each version iteration you release. It's the internal version number used for updates on the Play Store. Next, the version name specifies a public version identifier that will be displayed to users. It's the user-facing version name of the app. Next, the test instrumentation runner specifies a test runner to use for Android tests. By default, the Android support library Android Junit Runner Instrumentation will be included, allowing you to run Junit 3 and Junit 4 tests against your application. Next, the build types block is used to define multiple different build types, typically debug and release for the project. When you create a new module, Android Studio automatically creates a release build type for you. In most cases, you won't need to change it. Note that the debug build type doesn't need to be explicitly included in the Gradle build file, but by default, Android Studio will configure your debug builds with debuggable true. As a result, these builds are signed with the debug key store, and you can debug them on locked and signed Android devices. Next, the release block inside the build types block is the release build configuration for our app. In this release block, we define is minify enabled to enable or disable code shrinking and obfuscation for the release build and ProGuard files to specify ProGuard rules for optimizing and shrinking the APK. Next, the compile options block configures the Java compatibility. The source compatibility specifies the Java version in which the source code is written. The target compatibility specifies the Java version the compiled bytecode should be compatible with. This ensures your app is compiled with the right Java version and avoids compatibility issues between different Android versions. Next, the Kotlin options block is used to configure the Kotlin compiler for compatibility, optimizations, and features like coroutines and inline classes. For example, the JVM target specifies the JVM version for Kotlin code compatibility, 1.8, 11, 17. Next, the dependencies block is where you declare dependencies for your app or library. It specifies external libraries, Jetpack components, test frameworks, and more, all of the dependencies that are needed to build our application. Okay, this is about the module-level build.gradle.kt file. We move to the next Gradle build file in Android.